universal approach. Um,
Right. I've been hearing that a lot.
yeah, because I think the thing is, a lot of players they are kind of biased towards certain positions,
Hmm.
which is good. You do want to have certain positions that you're good at. However, you need to. Um, it's really good to train with computers. It's good to look at the top players' games and just have a general understanding of the game.
Okay.
Because if you do that, you can play pretty much any position, and it makes you that much stronger.
Right. I think we heard that too from one of the grandmasters we had earlier on stream about a month ago. You probably
Yeah,
saw that one too.
yeah.
So anyway,
All right, so
let's go and
this
hop
is
on in. Set the stage for us.
yeah. So this is the last game. So this game was, I think it was round one at the New Year's Open,
Hmm.
but 2018. So we skipped 2 years.
Okay.
So 2018, I'm playing against Vlad Yanovsky, also a Florida guy. He's a national master, and we have played some like blitz games and stuff like that too. So this is another guy who kind of knows me a little bit.
Hmm.
So I have to be careful, but I know his repertoire really well. Unfortunately, he has a very limited repertoire, which I always advise players to. It's good to really know an opening, but you need to know multiple openings because if you only have one opening, then it's extremely easy to prepare against you, and that's where novelties and things like that come into
Hmm.
play.
I'm learning
That's
that
why,
at the higher levels, like when you start hitting 19, 2000, 2100.
mhm,
And when you have a
yeah,
public profile, that probably makes it even harder.
yeah, exactly. Um, yep,
Openingtree.com. Why not chess? Oh, there you go. Oh, he plays everything. Never mind. I can't prepare.
yeah. Good thing I play a lot of things. You got to prepare e5. You got to prepare c5, knight f6. That is against e4.
Hmm.
Um, even the Caracan I've picked up recently, and I might revert back to the French at some point just to throw off, the
Oh, man.
opponents, and even the Perk actually too.
Oh, gosh.
Um, so yeah, I play everything for the most part. All right, so
Forget preparing. I'll throw my monkey bird at you.
uh, I don't think I'll have too many issues with that.
All right. All right. Go ahead.
Although that one game that I played against you like last week or something was kind of scuff.
That was a bit scuff.
Yeah. I mean, the whole opening is, guys, I do
But you
not
played it so
recommend.
solidly. That was the weirdest thing. Like, ugh. Never mind.
Well, I'm saying for myself, like
Hmm.
I wasn't extremely happy with the way that I played. Um, Generally, I played okay, but it's the monkey bird. You're supposed to crush it in, like 2 moves.
Yeah. It's
Um,
a plus three advantage to whoever is playing against it,
oh
but
man,
it's just strictly all out attack. It's kind of like a bad Danish.
yeah. Well, I mean, look at all these guys who play the on cloud and stuff. They get away with it
Yeah.
a lot of times.
And there's also Fisher, apparently like the so-called Fisher short game, was it, or Henley game? I forgot exactly who it was.
Hmm.
Where he
Yeah,
did a.
it was like a secret match on ICC like back in like 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Short played against Fisher. I mean, it's all alleged. Maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there is notation for that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really fun game.
So I mean, preparation belongs. I mean, if you prepare more than your opponent in even a wacky line, you can get some good away with some stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I might. Well, one suggestion is to, if you don't have Stockfish 13 yet, I highly recommend it. It's been helping me out with my preparation for this weekend.
All right.
Um, but what I would do is also get like Fritz 14 if you don't have it or something like that. So that way you can set up engine versus engine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I would set up like Stockfish 13 versus Komodo, and I would have Stockfish 13 play the Monkey Bird, and it would just crush Komodo probably.
Oh my goodness, it probably could.
Yeah.
What was that one that Jonathan Strantz he posted a ridiculous gambit where he sacked everything and the computer was like, "Oh, this is awful, awful, awful," and plays one looks like a good positional move, and then it dies to a huge attack on the king.
Yeah, that was the what was it called? I just thought of the name. It's the Petrov opening, but it's the Stafford Gambit.
Uh-huh.
That's what it is.
But like
Yeah, Stafford Gambit.
a
So
ridiculous
E4,
Stafford gambit.
yeah.
Oh, we're gonna put it on stream? All right.
Knight F6, Knight takes E5, Knight C6. So this is the Stafford. And then white can lose if they're not careful. In fact, I kind of cop out myself here because I haven't really watched a lot of those videos yet.
That's
I need to. But I haven't watched a lot. But I know that it's dangerous for white if you don't know what you're doing. So you're supposed to take. That's the best move, of course. But the point is, you have like 0 defenders after you castle, and black can also go like bishop c5, control the d4 square, go queen d4, knight g4, try checkmate you pretty quickly. So it is kind of scary if you're not well prepared.
Right.
But yeah, in this game, so this is round 1. Yeah. That's how it's a simul, you know? Going from one board to the next.
Exactly.
So yeah, this game, it's round 1 of the team championship in 2018. So the USATs.
And we
So
got
E4.
Thanks, guys.
E4, C5, Knight F3, D6, so regular Sicilian. And this is what Vlad always plays. And he always goes for this A6 stuff. His point is to, speaking of the Marazzi bind, I didn't want to give any spoilers earlier, so I didn't mention it. But we get a Marazzi bind. So C4 and E4, there they are.
White or black?
I have white. I would never play black in this position.
Okay.
Never, ever. You'd offer me like $1 billion and I would happily decline.
Wow. All right. Some animosity.
I would not want to play this position ever. It's I've played it before and I've seen what the computer has done. I've done a lot of work with white in these lines, and black just I believe, I don't know why it's not talked about a lot. Maybe it's just on the hush hush with grandmasters and stuff.
Okay.
Or maybe they just don't want to test it because it really might make chess extremely boring. But I feel like the Marazzi binds basically kills the Sicilian because it just takes pretty much all of the sting out of the Sicilian. If you know what you're doing,
I can feel
right?
that.
Just look at Karpov's games. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Guy Bielderman also mentioning Kramnik saying, yep, agree.
Yes. So if you're going to play stuff like this, make sure that you have Stockfish 13, play like 100 games, and look at all of those games.
All right, that'd be some interesting content for you to do on your personal channel. By the way, guys, if you would like, go ahead and check out Tony Burrus. He has his own Twitch channel right up there. Why Not Chess? Go ahead and send him a follow. I'll put a shout out in the chat as well. He's putting up some excellent content, and it's very educational. I stop in just to learn some stuff as well. Oh, I did shout out wrong.
Thank you. Well, I hope it's entertaining at least, because a lot of times I, lose a lot of rating points.
And that's the most entertaining part, the losing.
Yeah, all for content, of course.
Exactly. But no, that'd be some cool content to show about how to use a computer in your preparation, because you're mentioning it a lot, and I never thought of it that way. So,
for sure, yeah, I've done a couple of streams recently with just like a couple of blitz games. I had one the other night where it was Stockfish 13 against Komodo. Stockfish 13 had the white pieces, and the computers were battling it out in this Shwevnikov line that I have prepared. It's actually a line that Wesley So used to defeat Magnus in the Skilling Open.
Oh, snap.
It's I could show that real quick too if you guys want.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Although I am giving away my preparation, but
we appreciate
I'm ready for you. I'm ready for you. Knight f3, knight c6, d4.
Join the open section.
Yes. Oh, I feel like you're making a lot of improvement. Like I've been watching, the Monday tournaments. I always find it interesting to watch commentary about my games and other players' games, of course.
Oh.
And the commentary is just getting higher and higher, I feel like, each week.
I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
For sure.
Want to try to give good content when I can.
B5, D6, all normal, and this is the trendy line
Mhm.
amongst the best players. So black has to take. He takes D5, knight B8 or knight E7. If they go knight B8 though, which is the main line, then you go queen F3, or that's what I do.
Mhm.
And Fabiano also has this move A4, but queen F3 is really interesting because part of my preparation is A6, and then you go queen to A3, bishop E7, and I'll ask the viewers, white to move and make a very interesting move. So it's not white to move and win or anything, it's just white to move and make a very interesting move.
I mean, definition.
That doesn't lose, obviously. Yeah, that doesn't lose, of course.
Queen X86. Very interesting.
Definitely looks.
King
it
D1,
definitely looks
exactly,
interesting
Jasper.
for sure. What's that? Queen where?
King D1.
Oh, King D1. Actually, there is a line in the Nightorf that Van Forest played with King to D1.
All right, well,
So
trying to make a joke, and it's actually true.
It might be possible.
But a serious note. So an interesting move in what sense? Like aggressive, dynamic, positional.
I'll leave that concept up to the viewer. I'll make it extra challenging.
All right, go for it, guys. What you got?
Or I will say it's aggressive though.
Ooh.
It is aggressive, very aggressive, or it looks aggressive. It's very like counterintuitive too if you haven't seen the position before.
Bishop G5 in the chat. Let me think about that. Hang on.
Yes.
No way.
Excellent.
No.
Yes. Bishop to G5. Congratulations. Good job. You are thinking like Stockfish 13 now.
What?
Yeah, Bishop. So welcome to the preparation. Bishop to G5.
I don't see it.
So Bishop.
You're still on Stockfish 4.
Oh, Stockfish 4? Yeah, Stockfish 4. I don't know. I mean, Stockfish 4 is very strong too, probably, but Bishop to G5. This is actually the main line, believe it or not. So it's
I gotta see this. Okay, so we're gonna rip that bishop. That's like the most natural response. It looks like a free bishop. All right, yeah, 96 makes sense.
Yep, it's the only move, of course.
Right. It feels
now
odd
the
to go
king
into a pin, so I feel like King D7.
I'm gonna flip on our friend here because I actually haven't done my homework. If anyone played this against me right now, I would only know up to knight takes D6, and then I would have to figure it out on my own.
That's usually enough, though.
Yeah.
For strong players, I mean, it's true. You just let them know there's something here, and they'll look for it.
King F8 is the correct move, apparently. Allowing knight takes bishop check. So what happens on king to D7? Ooh. Knight takes... Well, it's not check, though. So it's not like you lost your queen. But... Okay, so what if you go queen E7? Queen A4? Yeah, that makes sense.
Bishop
you don't want to go king C7, because D6. That's kind of random.
Alright, so I guess the idea is just open king in the center of the board. Can't castle. Attack him.
Yep. But the thing is, the line doesn't stop here, though, because black can happily play this. And the thing is, you don't want to take on A8, because then queen takes F7. White's still winning, but it's more complicated. You have to take this one.
You have to be like, I don't need the rook.
Exactly. And then D6. Okay, then it's pretty straightforward from there.
That's insane.
But you have to see all of that, or well, you have to know all of that to know that king D7 doesn't work. That's kind of complicated. Like in a blitz game, if you don't know the position. Works. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
That's crazy. Makes a lot of sense though, once you look at it, because if the king has to go out to D7 on like move 4,
yeah,
it's probably really bad. Or you played some weird version of the bomb cloud, which is bad anyway. All right, guys, so let's go back to the main game.
So we got the
But
Maroxy Bind on the white side.
yes, so none of that crazy stuff, unfortunately. Back in my younger days, like 3 years ago, I was actually like an old man, I guess, then
Were you
compared
told the
to my
preparation
style
back
now.
here? Like you had a coach showing you what to do and stuff?
No, for the most part, I do have well, I know like Grandmaster Timur Graev, and I've trained with him in the past.
Okay.
But other than him and Susan Polgar, of course, too.
Right.
But other than those two grandmasters, I haven't really talked to too many grandmasters as far as like training and stuff goes.
Got it.
So pretty much all of my preparation is 100%, home cooking.
Nice. Man, I mean, Brian has given you good compliments too, saying that your creativity over the board, it doesn't matter what opening you play. It's very good.
Very kind. And yeah, I used some of his preparation as well, of course, in the States Championship. That really
Hey.
was handy.
All
So
right. Yeah,
shout
you
out
did
to him.
the little get together.
Yeah, and that was actually in a Sicilian as well. That was in the Accelerated Dragon.
Ooh.
Um, show that real quick. Diverged from the main game again.
Yeah, I prepared
Knight
an
of
Aniket for one line too, and I was spot on with what his opponent was going to play, and he missed one key idea. And the whole position fell apart.
Yeah, that's what does it. You really have to memorize the stuff and know why you're making the move too. Most importantly, this comes in the Accelerate Dragon though, or Hyper Accelerated actually.
Yeah.
Like Accelerated wasn't good enough, so they had to name it Hyper Accelerated, which kind of seems redundant actually, since they mean the same thing.
Yep, the dragon
But
hasn't wagged its tail yet.
yeah, exactly. So knight c6, knight c3, bishop g7, all normal stuff. And then the preparation is knight takes c6 and e5. And after the knight moves, you go bishop d4. So that's the preparation for that. But back to the main game.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
All right. So now we're going to get into some boring stuff compared to that. The boring Marazzi binds where both of us just whip out like 20 to almost like 30 moves of theory in 2 minutes.
It had to be balanced.
Exactly. But of course, I actually have some home cooking here as well. It just comes on like move 32.
Some homecoming.
So let's go. So I'm just going to kind of fast forward here.
Yeah, that's fine. I know that we went quite a bit over here. Sorry.
No, I enjoy this, especially since with COVID and everything, it's really hard to analyze. So rook fd1 or either one, d3 or rook fd1, they transpose.
Yeah.
Knight e5. I'm going to switch off the engine.
You can keep it on your side. I don't care. They can't see it.
Oh no, the thing is, like some of these positions, the engine might say one thing, but I believe something else.
And that's interesting too. You're going against what you just said. Okay, I'm going to use engines to play against each other, but when I'm trying to learn, you turn it off first and try to do it on your own.
Yes, exactly.
I like that.
And that's actually something that Timur Graev taught me, world blindfolded champion. He said when you're analyzing your game and like right after you come out of the tournament hall, you go to the skills room and stuff. Hopefully we'll get back to those days soon.
Yep.
But in the meantime, right after you lose that lead chess game, go into the analysis board and turn off the engine, put in all the variations that were in your head, and check those with the engine. And from there, you'll actually learn a lot.
Okay.
And then go back and look and see what the engine actually said.
Got it.
A lot of players, including myself, oftentimes we just turn on the engine immediately. We're like, oh, wait, what was the evaluation here? Like, this position was so interesting. I was really confused. But that's not really the correct way you want to think. You want to spend time and really try to find the best move before you turn on the engine.
Got it.
So rook f to d8, all theory still. And now king h1. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this move in the chat, but this is kind of computerish a little bit. It's part of my preparation though.
Always play king.
Exactly. Always play king h1, especially when the bishop is on b7.
Ooh, okay.
But the thing is, I have this wall of pawns though, so it doesn't really matter that the bishop's on b7.
Mhm.
But the bishop is like Superman, and he's X-raying through. So it does matter in some latter cases, potentially.
Got to be aware
A
of it.
lot of times, yeah, like if white goes g4, sometimes you gotta watch out for knight takes g4, and then things become open.
Okay.
I do have some defensive pieces though with like bishop f3 and stuff like that. But yeah, you gotta watch out.
Okay.
But for now, it's solid. Queen to b8. Now g4. There we go. So this is kind of throwing it in your opponent's face too. It's where you're saying like, I'm going to make you uncomfortable basically because I'm giving you this long diagonal. My king is opposite your bishop. My king is not a bishop. So my king is fianchettoed. It's kind of weird. And at the same time, I'm coming for your king. So basically you're saying, I don't care what you're going to do with your long bishop. It looks all nice and everything, but it doesn't do anything.
Huh.
So it's kind of disrespectful in that sense. But of course, you don't want to be respectful to your opponent. You want to go for your own ideas.
I guess that makes a lot of sense too, because obviously your opponent here is going to be thinking, how can I capitalize on the king being on h1?
Exactly. Okay. And the thing is, you can't really, which is kind of sad. Turn on the engine, it actually says like 0.7. Which again is all relative.
Yeah.
Because all of this is kind of theory still. But yeah, it's more than okay for white. So black goes g6. So my idea is to go g5, of course, and create a pawn storm actually. So I'm actually going to throw up all my pawns in front of the king, and the king is really going to be airy over there.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm saying my king is actually leading the charge. So he's like on the chariot, and the pawns are like the horses, and they're just like rolling through, and the king is right behind him.
Really cool thing. I like that.
Yeah. But of course it can backfire too. G5. So the question is, does it backfire here or not? Like already here I have to make sure that stuff like this isn't too good. Knight takes f4, take, and e5. The thing is though, I can always clog things up, go like knight d5. And black doesn't want to take because after takes, I get knight c6. And black has to give up an exchange actually. So it doesn't work technically.
Okay.
So stuff like that is really important to know.
Got it.
Because otherwise black could just take on f4 and go knight e5. Black is doing well.
You got a shout out in the chat, Tony. H. Reed Work.
H. Work?
H. Reed Work is saying hello. It's Harvey.
Oh, hey, Harvey. How's it going? What's going on, man?
Yeah, we were very lucky to have him on our podcast today. So thanks again, Tony.
Thank you. I'm very lucky to be here. Yeah, I always enjoy stuff like this. It's a good, thank you for taking me away from my I guess I don't really need to write like a whole paper, but because I've already written the draft, but I need to revise it.
Okay. Hey, most people even start the draft part, so you're way ahead of the game already.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, everything is due on Saturday, so I need to get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, close enough. So chess is more important. So let's go f4. So obviously you don't want to allow takes. Take, shake and bake. King is open. And then the king is, not a happy camper. So he has to go knight g7. And then I went bishop to f3. So this is kind of the idea of going king h1. You have to realize that you can go bishop f3 later on.
Okay.
And then to make things even better, everybody loves the h1 to a8 diagonal, right?
Yeah.
So they all just line up. So we got the queen, the bishop, the pawn on e4, the bishop on f3, the queen on g2, and the king on h1.
This looks really fun to walk by in a tournament game, just like watching. What in the world?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting position.
Oh, it's definitely a
It's
spectacle.
not.
I'll take spectacle. Good word.
Yeah, it's a spectacle. Although I feel like spectacle is almost has like a negative connotation. Forget if it does or not, but
Skeptical.
when you're talking about chess, I think it does. So it's definitely it because it's solid for both sides. It's not like either one of us messed up.
Right.
So black goes f6. So he's like, okay, man, I'm coming for your king now. I'm gonna weaken my king a little bit, but it's all right. It's not going to matter. A lot of times too, black can consider just taking, take, rook f8, and then take the bishop on f3 because this diagonal is so important.
Oh wow. Okay.
Most of the time, it doesn't really work though. So now I go h4. So there we go. The king is just chilling like a villain in the corner. So now rook f1. So preparing for the opening of the f file. Rook f7, getting ready to double up. Now I go f5. So kind of surprising. There's a lot of tension here. Basically, it's like, what should both sides do? I feel like it's really easy to play with white, though. With black, not so much, because black can capture here, black can capture here, black can capture there. You could
It's complicated.
Pushing it. Yeah, you can't really push. That just means you're positionally losing, which is a really important concept too for the viewers. You have to realize when you're positionally lost. When you're positionally lost, it doesn't mean you're losing the game as a whole, but it means that you have to come up with tactics to compensate for the positional deficits.
Okay.
And vice versa with tactics. With tactics, you have to find positional means that compensate. It's harder, I think, with tactics though, because tactics are, dynamic. Positional is just like about maneuvering.
We're getting a request in the chat if you may share this PGN with them.
Oh, sure. Yeah. If you guys just like type in your, well, actually, just I don't have the Twitch thing open right now because I wasn't sure if it was going to echo or not.
I paste the chat.
But yeah, just my username on Lichess is sort of the word 16. Okay. And so just follow me on here or something, and then I'll send it to you.
Sweet. All right, I'll go ahead and let them know.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think it's /@/. I'm pretty sure. Sort of the work.
Sort of the word.
Sort of the work. All that work. Yeah, that worked. Awesome. Cool.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, f5, exploding things up. So basically, I'm dropping a bomb on black's king side.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna flip the board real quick just to see perspective-wise what it feels like.
Oh man, it's gonna be scary.
Oh lord.
Here we go.
Oh.
It's pretty scary, right? It looks so weird from black's perspective. Actually,
it does. I mean, they won Connect 4, as Rosen would say, but like, did you really win though?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is like Connect 4.
So G takes f5.
Yep, G takes f5. E takes f5. So of course I want his e pawn to move. I really want that guy to move because then I just get all of the light squares, and I can hop in with knight to e6 or something like that.
Yeah.
And also g6 to open things up. So there are just way too many options there. So he has to trade pieces. So then I go rook takes f3, and then he takes again.
So you're avoiding
it was kind of hard.
Game here.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Because yeah, I'm just keeping the options on the board.
Okay.
Another piece of advice is to give your opponents a lot of options. This is what the top players talk about all the time too. You want to give your opponents, like 10 different options or a number of options, because the thing is, they can only play one move, and if it's not the correct move, well, it's GG.
Yep. Give them more options to make a mistake.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a mathematical thing too. Like, statistically speaking, there's more, room to make a mistake. So rook takes f3, knight takes e6. So now what should I do? Now that the dust has kind of settled, what should white do? I mean, it's pretty obvious, but...
I mean, knight d5 just feels natural here.
Yeah, knight d5.
but I don't really have any other plan than just put a knight on a strong square.
Yeah, knight d5, and that's the thing. You brought up a good point just now. The thing is, once, well, white kind of has like the maximum right now, or the maximum out of the trades. So what is his plan, right? Is like the thing is, if you don't find a plan, then black can just get in the game again.
Right.
Because my king is still weak over here. He's actually like naked.
Yeah, and you're down a pawn.
And I'm down a pawn too. Well, I'm going to win it back like next move, but because his bishop is hanging and the pawn g5 is hanging. But even if I didn't get the pawn back, it's still a little bit risky with the king over here.
Okay.
And his knight can come into e5 too, potentially. And he gets c5 as well. Also, remember, Fisher said to get squares, you have to give up squares, which is one of my favorite quotes about chess. So yeah, bishop back, knight takes, take, take. And okay, black has to play king to h8. Otherwise, you get mated.
Yeah, discover checks and open files, yeah.
So here I was really annoyed. I was like, oh man, I know I'm winning in this position. Like, I can feel it. But what is my plan? Like, obviously, I can't play bishop f6, queen g7. So he just whips it off. So do I trade bishops? But if I trade bishops, then rook takes d8, and then his rook can come into the defense. Like, the thing is, like, bishop takes d8, take, take, queen b2, and you're like, oh yeah, if he goes king g8, rook g1, and I'm mating him. But he goes knight e5. And then he's, like, back in the game for a second.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah. So I was really annoyed. I was like, wow, I got to spend time here. Because usually in my tournament games, I'm always, like, an hour ahead on the clock, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I'm not sure how it would be now after this, 1+ year break of, studying and stuff, I guess.
You never know. You could be just in strong positions with all the time in the world.
Exactly. So I want to ask the viewers again, what should white do? Come up with a plan here.
I got to make a new transition scene here for, like, ask the viewers.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Them today. I love it.
Awesome.
Aniket says bishop h6. All right.
Bishop h6 is actually the top engine's move, so congrats on that. The problem with it, it's not the top human move.
Top human move. I mean.
So what do I mean by that? Well, it goes back to the conversation that we were talking about earlier, where sometimes, the computer says one move, but you don't want to play that move.
Right.
Sure, bishop h6, if you really calculate, like 10 moves down the road, then you can play it. But if you play bishop h6, then I'm going to ask you, well, obviously you have queen g7, but once you play, let's go back here, bishop 8, oops.
No, you're good.
Here, bishop h6.
There we go.
So once you do this, what is your plan actually? Well, checkmate, of course. But let's say I make a move, right? So
making moves is good.
I can't bypass, unfortunately. But let's say bishop f6, yeah.
Okay.
So it's +6 here for white, but it's actually not so simple.
Yeah, because there could be a queen trade happening on the board. You don't quite have the mate yet. Yeah.
So, like, sure, you can simplify and stuff like that, but, that's just going to make life harder.
So if you have to choose two variations, one that's still winning or one that's completely winning but very, very sharp, you would choose just a simple winning move.
Exactly.
Okay.
Also, it's hard to see the win in this position, too. Like, knight takes f6, like you said, you can trade queens. And the bishop on h6 is actually misplaced. So that's kind of weird. Like, yeah, that's technically one position, but it's limited material. The main thing you have to realize is it's about the bishop is better than the knight. So it's just a different kind of game. It's not that obvious. So you have to come up with more plans, and it's kind of hard. So what I did was I
I would
found
like to get on this long diagonal. That'd be nice.
exactly. But remember, black always has 95. Like it's so sad. Like that long diagonal is just begging for one of white's pieces to, use it. But black always has 95 against anything that you
Unless
put
you
on
win a
the
pawn.
long diagonal. Yeah, that's true. Unless you put a pawn.
Unless you win a pawn.
Oh, win a pawn?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, you're saying he's gonna have to give up something to protect, though, right?
Well,
So
I'm
bishop
saying
e4.
so. Let's say you go queen b2 again.
Mm-hmm.
Black just goes knight e5. And what do?
Cry.
I mean, of course there are moves, but black is just going to go knight e5 every time you put something on that long diag.
Mm-hmm.
So what I had to do was I thought to myself, I think I thought back to this one game that Alekine played. It was like a 10-move combination or something. And it was like this massive flurry. It kind of reminded me of this situation.
All right.
There was this massive flurry of exchanges and attacks and captures and stuff like that going on. But at the end of the day, Alekine just simplified into a winning endgame because it was forced. He simplified into like a winning king and pawn endgame. And that's what I do here, actually, believe it or not. So the move that I played was bishop to e3.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm trying to back up, go to d4. I'm putting pressure on b6 as well. So he can't go knight f6 because then I go rook g1.
Okay.
And I actually made him like this. If he goes knight g6, then I can at the very least just go h5.
Right.
GG. So what he did in the game was pretty much forced. Yeah, bishop to f6, which was also the move in the other lines too.
Mm-hmm.
So now I take. And so yeah, he can go for the queen trade, but he says, no, I'm going to let you make that decision.
Okay.
But that's kind of wrong though, because I'm happy to do it because now I just get into the winning king and pawn in game.
Just barely. And you have a bishop.
Well, I guess it's not a king and pawn endgame, but it's a bishop versus knight endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop d4. Oh, this was a nice little.
That's a nice move, yeah.
Too. Bishop d4. Well, it's a subtle idea though. So you go bishop d4. Mm-hmm. The only move that black can play is rook to f8 because king g7 you go rook g1, and you lose the knight. So rook f8 and then you take. So it's kind of like, it's like instead of like putting the car into full gear, you put it halfway and then you just let her rip basically. So yeah, knight e4, he has to get out of the pin, otherwise I force the king and pawn endgame. Bishop d4, king g8. But now I just trade, and that's very easy.
Okay.
And he gave up a pawn trying to blockade, but we get this funny situation actually where he's in zugzwang because he has to trade this guy or go back and allow the fork. If he goes here, then I go bishop c5, and yeah, GG. The bishop is too powerful. And I'm up pawns, so
yeah,
that's it. So yeah, that was the last game.
King h1 though.
Yeah, king h1. That was the move.
Set the tone for the rest of the game.
Exactly. So yeah, I was pretty happy with this game because this was most of it, or at least like half of it, was all preparation with this king h1 idea. And the main thing though is like with preparation, a lot of people think, well, I have to prepare like specific moves and stuff like that. But like I have seen a lot of Karpov's games and other players who play these Muratov structures.
Yeah.
And so I know the general ideas like sometimes you go like bishop f1 after g4 and then bishop g2 or queen g2 and all that stuff. And couple that with the computer's ideas like h4. Like the computer's like, yeah, you can actually play h4. You're not getting mated. Then, it makes for some really strong preparation.
And it's interesting to see this kind of attack on same side castling. Normally,
yes, exactly. Side. Welcome to 21st century chess.
Throw the H pawn up the board, G pawn's up the board.
Exactly. Or should I say, like, welcome to the late computer? Or I don't know if I won't call it late, but just like
The
the
prime.
yeah. Well, I don't know if prime is the
It's
right
almost
word
there.
either though, because with the computers, I feel like computers not Fat Fritz too. Definitely not Fat Fritz tier,
Okay.
but com I'm not sure if you heard about the controversy with that.
Nothing.
Um, okay, so there's this engine called Fat Fritz 2.
Okay.
It's so Fat Fritz it's
Sounds funny.
I don't know who chose the name, but yeah, it's I don't know, it's kind of sketch. Um, but Fat Fritz 1 runs on like neural networks, so it's like Leela 0 and Alpha 0.
Hmm.
And so it's very powerful. It thinks about chess in a different way than Stockfish. But the thing is, people were complaining. They're like, "Oh, I just had to, spend $200 just to buy another version of Stockfish." So it sounds like Fat Fritz they kind of ripped off Stockfish a little bit.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's kind of
but yeah,
a sketch. That's all I can really put to
yeah,
it.
definitely. Like almost as if they just copy and pasted the same code.
Yep.
Maybe they did.
You never know.
But generally, with these neural networks, they think about chess in different ways, and they're teaching us so much more about the game
Hmm.
than just like Stockfish and stuff. And even Stockfish is incorporating neural networks, like the latest version, Stockfish 13.
Right. Which is on Leechess, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, it's fantastic.
on that note too about engines and modern day engines is that they're saying, or the neural network ones, they're saying that they're playing more like humans than
Yes,
computer engines now, which is kind of interesting to think that way.
that's definitely true because the whole point of the neural network, um, well, with these companies like DeepMind, also Neuralink with Elon Musk,
Yeah.
a lot of these companies they use games like chess and Go as um, kind of like the jungle gym for AI, if you
Hmm.
will. So what that means is they're just training them, you know, uh, they're using these games to hopefully do things like find AI systems where you plug in like this knowledge and it comes up with a cure for cancer, stuff like that.
That's true. I mean, they
And
had something like that with chemical bonds. This is like maybe a decade ago, but they had a chemical bonds game online that millions of people can go on, just like create their own chemicals, and they found a cure for some sort of disease from some
oh
random
wow,
person in the world.
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's amazing what we can do
It's
with
like, hey
numbers.
guys, yeah, that's awesome.
Same thing like,
He's like, hey guys, I found this.
yep.
Here's
Oh,
this little solution for that problem.
I gotta look it up. It's really cool. But
That
anyway,
is, yeah.
Tony, thank you again so much for joining us today. This has been excellent content, and we wish you the very, very best on your personal chess streams. Again, guys, go ahead and follow him. Why Not Chess on Twitch? And go ahead and put that shout out in the chat. Why Not
Thank you
Chess?
very much, and thank you for the interview as well. I really enjoyed this, and it's a pleasure to look at all the different lines and just talk about chess and
Dude,
stuff.
I can do that all day. I just wish I was as strong
Yeah,
as you to make it more entertaining.
I think you had me in one of our last games here. Remember that? Actually, that wasn't the Monkey Bird game though.
The life of
Uh,
a chess player.
I think you,
I had
I
it.
think you just played. Yeah, I think you just played a normal game though. Like you just played like E4 or something, and you had the attack on the H file.
Yeah, I remember that game. That was a fun one. I knew I had
Yeah.
something, but in the time situation, I'm not a blitz player,
Well,
first off.
then you hung Queen C5, which is well, it's
Queen
kind of
C5 was
natural in
good. I
Blitz.
didn't expect that.
No Queen C5 because the idea was my king was on F8.
Mm-hmm.
You had your rooks barreling down on the H file, and you're trying to stop the escape square, which made a lot of sense. But my rook was on C8,
Mm-hmm.
so I could just capture it.
Yeah, it was sad.
But you had Queen B6, so I think because I saw your post game analysis,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that might have been winning, or it was interesting at
It
least.
was similar. I think, why not? Let's go ahead and. We're already almost at the 2 hour mark. Let's go ahead and just pull up one game. Let's see against Tony. I didn't play very much. Okay.
And yeah, the main thing too, guys. Another tip is, they always say it, but it's true. Just play a lot of chess, and the computers, like these neural links, you know how they become better? They actually just play themselves over and over and over. And they're like, the cool thing that I like with the neural links too is that they're not, well, they're fed the general chess rules, but they're not fed like, you know, the Roy Lopez and all this other stuff. They literally come up with these openings on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, if you really analyze with the engines, you can have like a million novelties if you really put in the work.
I think when they first came out with AlphaGo and they played against the Grandmaster, and it completely demolished the Grandmaster. What they found after the game and after all the games, that the moves they thought were computer were actually trivial. And that completely changed their mindset of how to play the game of Go. So I'm interested to see.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I wonder what like for us, we're seeing them play more like humans, and I guess that's more of the trivial moves.
Right, because the way that they train the neural networks too is it's well, it kind of the computers, the people who invent these neural networks want them to have like a mind, if you will, like an artificial mind. So they train them. They talk to like neurologists, and they you know, speak to them, and they really try to pick apart the human's brain and you know, figure different things out to incorporate into the machines.
Right. I can't wait to see where it's going to turn into from here on.
Yeah.
So
have you heard about the brain chip?
Never heard of it. Brain chip?
Yeah, it's another thing that neural network is, or neural link is doing. So it's this brain chip that's going to hopefully help people who maybe they're paralyzed, or if someone has like some form of cancer that's in its earliest stages, the chip will be able to detect that.
Wow.
It is controversial too. Some people say, well, we could be like mindless zombies and stuff with the chip.
Yeah, things are invasive, obviously, but you know.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
But the cool thing about it was there's this video, or at least this article, I don't know if there's a video of it, but there were like these monkeys, and they're playing the old game Pong with the brain chip.
What? That's really cool.
Yeah.
And they're actually playing it, like.
Yeah, they're actually playing Pong.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we'll go ahead and let you go for tonight. It's definitely approaching 2-hour mark, and I still have a quick announcement to do here. And I know you'll be playing this weekend in the Rapid Chess Championship. Let me go ahead and put that on stream.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully I'll be able to use some novelties. The idea is to, you know, basically be the ambassador for Stockfish 13 in these events.
Stockfish
by
13
using
from,
its
from Lichess, yeah. They'll go ahead and start sponsoring you, put you on the front page, all the good stuff.
Exactly.
You get,
although isn't I've always wondered, like, I know chess.com, it's a big like corporation stuff, or well, company, but Lichess I think is just open source though, right?
Correct.
So it's like you have a bunch of contributors, and they kind of help make it better.
And it's all free.
But that's the great thing about it too, though.
Insane. So guys, let's go ahead and do the transition here. We have the Florida State Rapid Chess Championship 2021 coming up this Saturday, February 27th. Registration will be closing very soon. I believe they don't take it on the day of. So round 1 begins at 10 a.m. and we have a very special guest with us coming on that day, Grandmaster Marin Bosicic. Gosh, I'll never get his name right. But anyway, it's a great pleasure to go ahead and have him on stream. Go ahead and stay tuned. We'll be live at 9:45 with a stream delay as well. I have probably maybe 5 minutes. I think it's plenty. Maybe in 3 minutes might be plenty. So Zoom will be used for the purposes of preventing cheating. And last tournament we had, which was a Blitz one, that went on without a hitch. So please go on and show your supports either on the stream or just playing I know that's Tony here will be playing as well, and he's gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's enough for that. Let's go and switch back to Mr. Tony and say our goodnights and goodbyes. So, thank you again for being here.
Yeah,
today.
thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and send a raid here to Mr. Ron Henley.